In today's exercise, I want to teach you a half-step scale, which is going to really help your movement in half steps up and down the piano, which will also really help you when we start building chords. So to play this scale, we're going to play every white and black note between this C and the C above it. And we're mainly going to use our thumb and our middle finger. But we are going to have to use our index finger on a couple of them. So let me show you how it works. I want you to put your thumb on the C, and we're going to use our middle finger to play all of the black notes. So when you play a black note, use your middle finger. So from here, we play this black note with our middle finger, and we play the D with our thumb. Then we play this black note with our middle finger, and we play the E with our thumb. And then all we do here is use our index finger because there's no black note to go to. So we use our index on the F and then back to using our middle finger on the black notes. And then our thumb on the G, we move up using our middle finger, our thumb on the A, our middle finger on this black note above, and then our thumb on the B, and then as there's no black note here, we use our index finger for the C. Okay, so to show you that again from the bottom, we're mainly moving between our thumb and our middle finger. But if we don't have a black note, we have to use our index. So our thumb is on the C, we move up using our middle finger, thumb on the D, up moving our middle finger, thumb on the E. There's no black note here, so we're going to use our index finger. Middle finger on this black note, thumb on the G, we move up using our middle finger, thumb on the A, we move up using our middle finger, thumb on the B, and then we use our index finger to land on the C. So spend some time just trying that out and moving up, because then we're going to have to come back down again. So this is how it should sound, nice and slowly and evenly, remembering to keep your fingers curved. Start with your thumb on the C. Okay, and just spend some time moving from C to C. And that's all we're going to do in this exercise. And in tomorrow's exercise, we'll learn to come back down again. So spend some time practicing moving from C to C. And in your head, just remember, if it's a black note, you're using your middle finger. And for the rest of them, you're mainly using your thumb. And if there is no black note, we use our index. In today's exercise, we're going to work on our half-step scale again, but today we're going to learn to come back down. So hopefully you've been practicing moving up using your thumb and middle finger, and of course your index finger where there isn't a black note, and it should be sounding like this. And once you get to this C, and it should be on your index finger, we need to come down again. Now we are going to hit all of these notes with the same finger. So our thumb will come down to the B, and our middle finger will hit the black notes. Down to our thumb, down to our middle finger, down to our thumb, down to our middle finger. And it's here where we need to stop, because you've got to remember we had our index finger on the F, because there was no black note there. So you must remember to put your index on the F, and then your thumb on the E, middle on the black, thumb on the D, middle on the black, and then you can end with your thumb on the C. So if we go back to this C at the top with our index finger, moving down to our thumb, down to middle, down to thumb, down to middle, down to thumb, down to middle, and it's here where we have to remember to put our index finger on the F, and then thumb, middle, end on the C. And you can end on that C with either your index or your thumb. So try that a few times and then we can try going up and down again. So start at the top here on your index, thumb, middle, thumb, middle, thumb, middle, index finger on the F, thumb, middle, thumb, middle, thumb. And when you feel confident, you can go all the way up and all the way down again. So I'll do that nice and slowly, starting with my thumb on the C. So we go middle, thumb, index, middle, thumb, middle, thumb, index. And then come back down. Thumb, middle, index, thumb, middle, index. So take this nice and slowly, just with your right hand, move all the way up and all the way down again, and get it as smooth and even as you can. Now, if you're really flying with that and you're absolutely loving it and getting it really good, you can try it with your left hand. It's pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is your index finger will hit the E instead of the F. So your thumb will go on the C, exactly the same as you do with your right hand, and your middle finger will do all of the black notes. So you go up to your middle, thumb, middle, but it's here you have to use your index, which is different to your right. So your index hits the E, thumb on the F, up to middle, thumb, middle, and then you have to use your index. And then you land on the C with your thumb. And when you come down, index on the B, and then middle on the black note, thumb, middle, thumb, and then index on the E. And then middle, thumb. But don't try the left hand until you've got the right hand really good. When you're really confident with the right, you can give the left a go. And you're just switching where you use your index finger. In today's exercise, we're going to practice moving up and down in half steps. So as you can see here, I have a list of things I want you to try and do. I want you to pause the video and give this a go on your own. So you're either moving up in a half step or a whole step, or you're moving down in a half step or a whole step. So pause the video, give all these a go. When you come back, I'll play them through so you can see if you got it right. Okay, so the first one, we are starting on a G, and I wanted you to move up a half step, so it would have looked like this. Next, I wanted you to move down a whole step, so from a G, if you were to move down a whole step, you should have landed on the F. Next, I asked you to play a C. And I wanted you to move up a whole step. So you should have landed on the D, because that's 1, 2 whole steps. Then we were back on the C, and I asked you to move down a half step. So hopefully you landed on the B, because this is half step lower than a C. Next, I asked you to play an A. So we hit an A, and I wanted you to move down a half step. And hopefully this is what you did. And then from the A, I asked you to move up a half step. So hopefully you landed on this black note here. Next up, I asked you to play an E. And from this E, I wanted you to move up a whole step. So hopefully you got to this black note here. That's from an E, 2 half steps, 1, 2. And then from the E, I asked you to move down a whole step. Hopefully you landed on this D. And then lastly, I've asked you to hit the note of F. And I asked you to move down a whole step. Hopefully that got you to here, this black note. And I asked you to move up a half step. So from here to move up a half step, we land here. In this exercise, we're practicing moving up and down in half steps and whole steps again, but this time I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult. So here's your list. You might have to move up 2 whole steps or even 3 whole steps. So I want you to give this a go, pause the video. When you come back, I'll go through it so you can see if you got it right or wrong. Okay, so let's have a look to see how you did. So with the first one here, we started on a C. And I asked you to move up 2 whole steps. Now hopefully you worked out that that's 4 half steps. So from here we would go 1, 2, 3, 4. So from a C to move up 2 whole steps, you'd land on this E. Next, also from this C, I asked you to move down 6 half steps. So hopefully this is what you got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So hopefully you landed on this black note, which is the first of the group of 3. Okay, next I asked you to play an E and asked you to move up 3 half steps. Hopefully this is what you got. 1, 2, 3 to land on this G. Next up, I asked you to move down 4 half steps. Hopefully this is what you got. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have landed on this C. Okay, next I asked you to play a B and I wanted you to move down 3 whole steps. So hopefully you remembered that 3 whole steps is 6 half steps. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the answer is F. Also from the B, I asked you to move up 3 half steps. So from here, you should have got 1, 2, 3 and landed on the D. Next is from the D, and I asked you to move up 5 whole steps. Well, hopefully you remembered that 5 whole steps would be 10 half steps. So from this D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hopefully you landed on this C. Also from this D, I asked you to move down 2 whole steps. So that of course is 4 half steps, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully you landed on this black note here. Okay, lastly, we're on the G. And I asked you to move down 3 half steps. So from this G, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you landed on the E. And also from the G, I asked you to move up 6 half steps. So from here, hopefully you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which would be this black note here.